Good morning, guys. Laura here from Hedgehog's Homestead. I'm in the garden and I just learned something that I need to share with you. I have a few onions, 5 onions that are starting to bolt. I'll show you in a minute what that looks like. They start to get a seed head on it. Basically anything that bolts is going to seed. Now, what you can do with that is that you want to stop that process right away, either by pulling it out of the ground and processing the onion right away and using it right away, or doing this. I'll show you. So this is an onion that's bolting, and this stem is really hard. Now that stem is going all the way down deep into that onion, unfortunately. And so what I'm going to do is, instead of taking out the whole onion, I'm going to cut that off. Cut off that whole stem down to that far. And I'm going to do the rest of these that are bolting. Now, the risk of cutting it off like that, guys, and just leaving it in the ground is that it can start to taste pretty woody. And so later on, I did pull them out of the ground because after further study, I don't want woody onions. And they were ready to eat. They were a good size, not tiny. Most of them were about that big. So we did good with them. So I went ahead and pulled them out and then processed them and just put them in the freezer and kept the green onions. I'll show you guys that tomorrow. So on with the video. And I think even this one. And then I'm going to look through and see if there's any others that look like they're about to bolt like this. Now you can eat this. This is, you can eat that as green onion. But what happens is this gets really hard. You can see that this is not as flexible as this stem here. And it gets really hard to support the seeds. And then that runs down into your onion here. Now when it runs into your onion, it compromises that onion for storage. So you can no longer use that onion for storage, unfortunately. So I'm going to leave it in the ground, but I'm going to be able to see that I cut off that stalk right there. And that's going to stop it from growing. And then I'll just process these onions at the same time. But these are the first onions I'm going to eat. I'm not going to put these onions in storage. Now we're just going to cut this one too. Set it aside down there. This one here is bolting. Some of these aren't very big that have bolted like this. Okay, so that's all the ones I think here. There's one over here. This one's not very big at all. That's too bad. And there's another one. Okay. Any others? Nope. Oh, here's another one right here. And this one's not very big either, unfortunately. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, let me see. Put these in a. Well, there's 5. There's 8 onions so far that have bolted. So those are the onions. That's not bad. Our family will go through those onions in no time. So none of these over here are bolting, and these are the onion sets right here, and they have not bolted at all. I need to weed this bed. And so we have 8 onions that bolted. Hopefully we won't have any more. These are all starting to bulb up now in this bed. So I am not going to give this any more nitrogen. That might have had something to do with it. There's a few small ones in here, but we won't throw any more nitrogen in this bed, but we will the other two. And I think the top of this bed where they started to bolt to, these ones are starting to bulb up really nice here too. So we're going to get a weed-in. Oh, there's one more. Let's get it while it's young. There we go. So that's a pretty young one, pretty small yet. And so watch for them. Watch for them starting to form. I noticed these about a week ago, and I could have got them when they were all this small and pretty soft yet. So that is 9 that we'll have to eat right away. So not a problem. Plus, we can eat those onions. I can cut those up and we can use them as onion greens. So not all is lost, and we'll enjoy the rest of these onions, and that's what you do. So remember, when an onion is bolting, it's going to seed. It's sending that core all the way into the bulb of the onion. So it's not going to be good for storage. So either harvest the onion right away. Tip number 1, cut it off and leave it in the ground. And you can just leave it in the ground and harvest it with the rest of your onions, but know that even though you've left it in the ground, it's still not going to be a good storage onion. You still have to eat it right away. And also know that a lot of people go ahead and harvest it, because as soon as that onion bolts like that, that means it is done growing the onion that's in the ground, so your bulb. So your bulb has stopped growing at that point, and it was ready to be harvested, and it was going on to the next cycle in its life, which was creating a flower. They do create a beautiful flower. That's another option, is that you can go ahead and let it go to flower, let it seed, and then collect the seeds from that onion. You can do that as well if you don't cut it off. This year I'm cutting it off. Maybe next year I'll leave a couple, like if I have one of each, then I'll go ahead and let those go to seed. The bees really love, the pollinators really love that onion seed or that onion flower. So it is beneficial to your garden by attracting the bees. So let it go to seed, don't let it go to seed, cut it off, don't cut it off. Either way, that onion is not going to grow anymore, and unless you got it really early, that onion is not going to grow anymore, and you can eat the greens. And you can still eat the onion, whether you harvest it now at this moment or harvest it later. Now, you can always freeze dry that onion if you do harvest it, or eat it right away, or freeze it. And that's what we'll probably do with most of our onions anyways. So remember, that bulb is not going to grow anymore. So either harvest it right away, cut the top off right away, really close to the base. You cannot use it for storage, and but you can leave it in the ground if you cut the top off, that stem, the stem with the little flower that it's producing on top. And these are delicious. We can cut these up and put them in a salad, and they'll be good. God bless you guys. We'll see you next time here on Hedgehog's Homestead, and I hope you learned something today. I know I did. God bless. Bye.